Welcome. We're back, and like really before I even get into that, there's so much to talk about in tonight's stream. But before I even really get into stocks and everything, crypto right now is, I'm not gonna say pumping, but most cryptos in the past hour have made a very nice bounce alongside Bitcoin, obviously, the king of crypto. Sorry, I just need to clear my throat 1 second. But as we speak, cryptocurrencies are making moves. Obviously, Dogecoin went insane today, which I'm going to bring up here in a second. I usually don't spend too much time on crypto, but tonight I think there's a lot of opportunity. Unfortunately, a lot of things have already bounced, so there was a better opportunity like an hour ago. But yeah, that's Dogecoin insanity. Ever since that alert down at 3 cents all the way back at the end of January. Like literally, I alerted Dogecoin right over here. Ever since right over here, you've never been this low again on Dogecoin. It's just, it went up, it went sideways for a long time, then it went up like crazy again. I don't even know what I just did, but you get the point. Dogecoin's been going crazy, and right now, I think I just messed up my trading view. So let me just reload. But like, I'm literally looking at altcoins right now and everything is up like 5 to 10% within the last hour, which is insane. So great moves on crypto. I mean, obviously it's just started off with Bitcoin and talk about that. If you're in the Discord, I shared this with the Discord. This is more of Mitch Ray's idea, not mine. He talked about it on his stream last night. The bullish shark, the bullish, not really a cipher because you're at the 886. But you have this XABCD on the low time frames, on the 4 hour, on the 1 hour, like a little mini harmonic pattern, and you've double bottomed at the PCZ of this pattern. So the first time you hit the PCZ of this pattern was actually, I think, during the afternoon today, and that is what I shared with the Discord. And then again, you retested it, and again, you always love to see double bottoms at the PCZs of harmonics. You got that on the 4 hour, and on the 1 hour, you have classic bullish divergence on Bitcoin. On the 4 hour, you can potentially at some point create hidden bullish divergence, kind of. But it's just crazy. You had that major bullish cipher harmonic, then you had a run up, and then you created another bullish shark, which is actually pretty close to another bullish cipher. It's just the 886 instead of the 786. But craziness, so many harmonics on Bitcoin, and you got a very nice bounce on Bitcoin in the last hour. I was literally thinking about putting out a trade, but it just started going. So at this point, I'm not too sure if I'm going to put out a trade. Maybe we'll just wait for another dip. Because it's going to be a little bit interesting. I don't know how exactly you would manage risk entering at 55k, because I think you'd have to put your stop loss under 50k. But even if you go under 50k, you have that major support at 47k. So it's just like, maybe if you want to play like this little mini structure, you can just throw a stop loss under like 50, like you put like 52k. You could put your stop loss there on Bitcoin, and then target. Probably you'd have to be targeting like 50, 59k, 60k, and you'd only get a 2 reward to risk. So I'm not putting out a trade just because I don't know how you'd manage your risk here. But regardless of the risk management, you have a bullish shark with 1 hour classic bullish divergence and a double bottom. The low time frames on Bitcoin look really interesting, and you're seeing that display with altcoins as well after a pretty rough day for crypto and obviously the stock market, which we're going to talk about in a second. But I just want to start off with crypto, and then we're going to get into stocks in like 5 minutes. And then BNT, this is an alert that I put out, I think like last Friday or something. It's currently up about 8% since the entry of the trade. Also having a little bit of a nice bounce. And then right before I started streaming, I was looking at 2 other cryptos, and they've already just gone up another 2% by the time I started this stream. So it's just like crypto's going wild right now in the last hour. First one is Tezos XTZ. I've been trading this since it was like $1.30. Obviously it's much higher than that now. And this one's really interesting. You don't really have much of a pattern, but you have a very clear ice line, which is 538. You can see that is where your candles closed right over here in February. It was also your candle highs in April on these 2 candles. It was your candle lows on April 7th and 8th. And you've been finding support at 538 for the past couple of days. So one altcoin that looks pretty interesting to me right now is Tezos. You even have hidden bullish divergence on the daily. The other altcoin that I was looking at right before the stream is ZEC, Zcash. And this one has more of a pattern. If you go to the 4 hour, it's like an inverse head and shoulders. There's like some scam wicks, but you could see left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then your neckline. And then you also have very nice looking 4-hour hidden bullish divergence. The thing with these is like, I was already looking at these and I was planning on alerting them, but by the time I got down to set at my computer, they just went up like 5% in the last hour. So I wanted to start off with that. Crypto is doing very well tonight after a pretty rough morning and afternoon. But let's kind of part ways with that and talk about stocks now, which also, they had a horrible day. Futures are up a little bit. They're still relatively flat. The S&P futures are up 0.20%. NASDAQ is up about 0.13%. Really not much. But today was the worst day for the stock market since March 18th, I believe. It was pretty much one of the worst days of the whole entire year for the stock market. So you opened up red. I think Yellen she said some sort of statement about interest rates people didn't like. And then she tried to change her opinion. Like, it was super weird, but really just not a good day for the market at all. It was blood in the streets. So most stocks were down, most of the trades were down today. It was just red everywhere. If you look at any of the heat maps, was not a fun time for the stock market today. I mean, that's just the easiest way to put it. I'm going to talk about the technicals here in a second, but if you watch the streams, what happened today should not be a surprise to you. We've been talking about being at the top of the wedge on the S&P 500. Let me go full screen. We've been talking about being at the top of this wedge for literally like half a month, like 2 weeks. So you know that we've been in riskier areas than down over here. And then alongside that, literally last night on stream, we were talking about how the SPY has been inclining on declining volume, which is not really that good, because what happens when you're going up in price while your volume is going down, it's really easy to pull back very harshly because it didn't take that much volume to get the price up, and it won't take that much volume to bring the price back down. And that's kind of what happened today. You broke a very, very important support level that you've been holding for about a week, which on the SPY was 416. On the actual SPX was about 4174. We also talked about that last night. You broke your supports. You were at the top of the wedge. You had declining volume across the whole entire market. You had bearish divergence on the RSI, which I also showed last night on stream. You can't be surprised with what happened to the S&P. That definitely made sense to me. What did not make sense to me, however, because the S&P was down 0.70 at the close. It had a very nice rally towards the end of the day. What caught me by surprise today is the NASDAQ. NASDAQ was down almost 3% at one point, which I can't even remember that happening maybe more than once since I've started trading, seeing the NASDAQ down 3%. That is very, very bad. Tech stocks were getting demolished. EVs were getting demolished. Pot stock, like most things. But really, really harsh pullback on the NASDAQ. I do not know what's in store for tomorrow. I don't know why I was stuttering there, but if we're going to talk about the technicals at this point after the pullback that you got today, before I even really go deep into the stock market technicals, I'm just going to go ahead and say I don't believe that the bleeding is over, and I'm going to explain that in depth a little bit more. I don't believe that the bleeding is over for this move to the downside, but at the same time, I do think we can see I think we're going to see a decent bounce, or we already did bounce during power hour, but I think we're going to see a continuation of this bounce either tomorrow or on Thursday. I think either tomorrow or Thursday, one of the two, is going to be a nice green day, simply because ever since Thursday, it's not been a good market for especially small caps. Basically on Thursday, if you remember, we pretty much gapped up to all-time highs on Thursday, and then it just dumped. Like if we look at the NASDAQ, it was this candle right here if we go on the 1 hour. It was very strange. You gapped up at the open, and then you just had like a quick 1% pullback last Thursday. And since then, the NASDAQ's just been going down. Like since last Thursday, and you were at an all-time high on Thursday morning. So since that all-time high on the NASDAQ, you had a 5% pullback in a matter of 3 trading days. I do not think people understand what just happened. How, like, the news is not talking about how harsh this was. A 5% pullback on the NASDAQ in 3 days is insane. That is a dump. That's not even a pullback. That's a short-term dump in the tech market after a great week in earnings. for many huge stocks like Apple and Amazon. Tesla was debatable, Microsoft, Twitter was also debatable, but there were a lot of big tech names that had great earnings last week, and you pull back 5% on the tech index. This is not normal. This is so far from normal. There was news today, Cheddar Freeze in the chat talking about job numbers coming out on Friday. Some things are going on here clearly, but I'm going to cover it because the news did not cover it. This is insane. I mean, they did cover it, but they should have been a lot more surprised because that's a huge move. I mean, it's just, that was a big move. We started bouncing towards the end of the day, and my thesis is that we are going to continue this bounce for a little bit. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go retest our previous supports and we're going to flip them into resistances, and then I think we're going to drop again. That's my thesis. I don't care if I'm wrong. That's not how I don't trade to be right. I just trade my thesis, and if I'm wrong, I manage my risk. But futures are a little bit green right now, and of course none of what I say matters until we see what happens. The price action is what matters for confirmation. But you can see here on the S&P that you broke under this 41. Let me go on the 1 hour. You were holding that 41.74 level for a very long time. Pretty much from the 23rd of April until today, you've been holding that level. Today you broke it, and then you rallied up very nicely. I think what's going to happen either tomorrow or on Thursday, we're going to retest 41.74. Maybe you have a little bit of an upthrust and you try and fill the gap just so that we don't have to worry about a gap to the upside. Maybe you do run up to fill the gap on the S&P, but I do think that something like this could be on the table very easily, where you broke your support very clearly at the top of the wedge. Now I think what's going to happen is you're going to get a dead cat bounce to retest your previous resistance areas and flip it into a support. So whether you reject 41.74 or you come fill this gap right over here, I think in this area you're going to see a lot of resistance, and I think you're going to do something like that. And then if you go out to the daily, you can see that something like this can happen very easily, and you still have an insane amount of room to the downside. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I do think that we got a very big drop. We started bouncing in the afternoon. I think within the next couple of days, we might see a little bit continuation of that bounce, but I will be very cautious. Even if we do bounce tomorrow or the day after, I'm still very cautious with this type of stuff going on. There was heavy put volume today. I was seeing block trades on SPY puts the whole entire day showing up on my TradeAddicts platform. It was interesting. So that's the S&P 500. If we take a look at the NASDAQ, somehow, some way, if we go over to the daily, you managed to close above support. This is the one good thing from today in the stock market. Somehow the bulls rallied up into the close, and you were able to close above 13,600, which is an insanely important, that's really the only important level on the NASDAQ right now. That was your resistance over here. Remember that, like, kind of like the inverse head and shoulders that we had? That was that major resistance that you couldn't break from February all the way until April. And now for the first time ever, you're using that not as support, but potentially support. It's just you closed above it, which is good. So technically, as long as you close above 13,600 on the NASDAQ, it's fine. We barely got above it, but all right, if the bulls can hold this, we'll see what happens. And yeah, that's the S&P and the NASDAQ. We can talk about the Russell index, which kind of looks like an upsloping channel to me. I think I charted it, yeah. Kind of looks something like this to me, where you have like 2 touches on the bottom. You had a little bit of a fake out, but you have 3 touches on the top, 3 or 4 touches. And that's kind of how I'm looking at the Russell, so pretty neutral there. And that's my thoughts on like the stock market indices. Now we can kind of talk about some more individual tickers, such as FSR and CLOV, which are in the title, I believe. I think I put them in the title of the stream. But before, yeah, I did. Before I even get into that, what's going on? We got like 30 people in here. How are you all doing? I'm sure for many of you, it was not a fun day. Crypto did not have a good day, except for like Dogecoin and Chainlink. And what else? The stock market, obviously, didn't even have a good day. I don't even think the US 10-year was kind of flat. The VIX had a good day. So let's talk about the other, we're going to get to FSR and CLOV in a second, but if we talk about the VIX, this is another thing that's very interesting. And I'm spending time on all of these different things, like the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell, the VIX. I'm going to talk about the 10-year and the dollar shortly. I'm spending time on all of these because every single thing I'm talking about right now is going to affect the stocks that you're in. I'm looking at the macro. You cannot be trading without being aware of what the macro looks like. So please, for the people who don't care about this stuff, start caring about this stuff, because that is why your small caps and your mid caps, and today even your large caps, are getting crushed because of the macro, because of news, and the charts are portraying how people react to that news, right? If we look at the VIX, you kind of went above 19.6 is the level to watch. So you got saved by the bell quite literally today, all right? Remember, I just said on the NASDAQ, you broke under support, but somehow you closed above it, right? You broke under this white line, you fell under it, but somehow you closed right above it. And then on the VIX, you broke above your resistance, but somehow you closed under it. So like the bulls really technically did save the day right at the end of in like the final 2 hours of the day. Although this could easily be contradicted tomorrow at the open. If you get a red open, the VIX is probably going to go over 19.6. That's literally 0.1 away, and the NASDAQ's probably going to fall under 13.6K. So it's not like you're out of the woods. You're still in a very, very choppy area, but somehow, some way, the VIX did close back under the resistance, and what you want to see, really, to make it simple, because I know I'm kind of super hype right now, you want to see the VIX close under 19.6, which it did just barely today. And you want to see the NASDAQ close above 13.600 or 13.6K, which it did just barely today. That's what I'm really trying to get to. We take a look at the US 10-year, kind of just chopping around after breaking out of this little supply line. Not too much to talk about there. And then the dollar did confirm hidden bullish divergence today. So we'll see how that affects things. Typically, the dollar going up, it's not good for equities and crypto. And that's why the dollar's been going down, because the stock market and crypto have been booming. But we'll see how this continues to develop. And now I'm kind of done talking about the macro. So now we can talk about individual stocks like FSR and Clover, which I do have a lot to speak about on both of them. So make sure to hit that like button. We got 32 people in here, about 17 likes. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I just want to bring this up. I don't know. I got an email from YouTube today saying that I'm now eligible for super chats. So I enabled that. I don't know how that kind of works, but apparently, like, next to where you type in the chat, there's like a little dollar icon, and I think you could like tip through that. I still do prefer like the Streamlabs tipping, just because if you tip through Streamlabs, they're not taking a cut of the revenue. I think if you tip me through YouTube, YouTube takes like half of the money or something. So whatever, I just wanted to bring that up in case you see that the thing showed up. But I mean, even regardless of that, I just want to thank all of you, because the reason I now am eligible to have super chats is because of you. So apparently I passed whatever metrics they have on YouTube to get that eligibility, and the reason I passed that metric was because of all of you watching the stream and supporting what I'm doing. So thank you for that. It really means a lot. Just wanted to bring it up. Yeah, YouTube probably with the 50% cut. Streamlabs doesn't, though. When you tip me through Streamlabs, which is the pin chat, how we've always been doing the tips, Streamlabs does not take anything from it. The only thing that happens is like PayPal takes like a 2% fee or whatever the standard PayPal fee is. But yeah, thank you for all the support. Let's talk about FSR and let's talk about Clover. I'm gonna spend some time on FSR like I did last night. If you watched the stream last night, basically the moral of the story from yesterday was you were in a very weird area. Your RSI was oversold, is what I brought up, and then I also brought up this. There was one level I talked about last night on stream on FSR, and that was like 1168. If you remember, 1168 was the support that you had in July. And then it was also where your candle opened on November 9th, which was one of the best weeks in FSR's history, this big green candle that I'm putting my mouse over. So you're trying for the first time ever in FSR's history to flip that into support. You fell a little bit under it today, but I believe you closed both of your 4-hour candles above 1168. So you're probably hoping to hold 1168. Well, we're going to go over UWMC and all the other tickers in a little bit. I just want to cover up FSR, Clover, and a few other things, then we'll do taker requests. But just to answer, you typing that in the chat. But yeah, FSR, pretty interesting. Trade got stopped out yesterday, and this is like where I I'm what's the word to use? I'm not frustrated, but I'm just kind of skeptical. So the Fisker trade got stopped out yesterday for about like a 6% loss, nothing crazy, although it still does suck. And it got stopped out pretty much right over here at like 12.26. So after this trade got stopped out yesterday, technically you did fall another 6%. You fell a whole entire dollar lower because you were at 11.46 this morning. So in terms of you falling another 6%, the stop loss did work. Because imagine I put the stop loss at 11.50, then it would have been like an 11% loss on the trade instead of a 6% loss. But on the other hand, I don't know if maybe that stop loss is going to eventually screw things over, because somehow, some way, it's like things are, I'm not going to say it's bullish yet. You're still very, very bearish on Fisker. You're still in a bear trend. There's still lower lows and lower highs and just a lot of bearish volume. But you've been showing variables this whole entire way down, which is just, it's made it really, really hard this time around on Fisker, because up until like the last month, I've kind of had like a flawless record with Fisker. I mean, obviously there was the trade, this was a trade, even this move was a trade, even this little one good move you had during this downtrend was a trade. There was a few day trades in between. Like, for the people who've been around since October, you know what I'm talking about. There was probably like 8 trades that I put out on Fisker, and probably 6 of them were very nice winners. And then the last 2 trades on Fisker that I put out in April, they didn't work out. But to be fair, I mean, Fisker dropped 63%, and I put out 2 trades on Fisker. The first trade was like a 10% loss. The second trade was a 6% loss. So on a 62% drop on Fisker, if you combine both of the losing trades that I put out, it's only a little fraction. Like, it's literally this much. Like, this is how much worth of the losing trades I put out. It was 16% if you add up both of the losing trades I just put out on Fisker. Instead of, imagine I would have alerted it at $30 like other people did. I'm not going to name. Idiots. And then it comes down 64%. That's why you use stop losses. So that you're not down 63%, you only lose 16%. And then we just have one good 20% trade and boom, it's back. Like, obviously, like how we did here and how we did here, and even on this little bump up right over there. But that's besides the point. Let's talk about the current technicals on Fisker. I don't know when it's going to reverse, and this is what I've been saying for a while. Maybe you just want to wait to see Fisker start creating higher highs and higher lows. Like, you can see lower high, lower high, lower high. There's no high yet. And you just been making lower highs and lower lows. Maybe you want to wait until you start doing this. To be confident on Fisker, maybe you just want to sit back and you want to see it start to do something like this, creating higher highs and higher lows, right? If you want to sit back and wait for that, absolutely. The only contradiction is, like, you still have some bullish variables, and I'm going to bring that up right now. You put in a bullish pin bar candle on the 4-hour, and I think also on the daily, you put in a bullish pin bar candle. You're oversold on your RSI. Historically, every time Fisker's been oversold in the RSI, within about a week, it's had a pretty sharp bounce. It's happened 3 times in the past. This is the 4th time that's oversold in the 4-hour RSI. And then also, I think the Lump brought this up, and also originally Cheddar Freeze brought it up in the Discord. But do you remember this original bullish butterfly that I was looking at, where it was like X, A, B, C, D? And then the original way that I was looking at this butterfly was just the 1618 right up here. You remember right there. It was at the 1618. It bounced up a little bit, and then it obviously continued the dump. If you just extend the D point, you've actually pretty much hit a new PCZ of this original bullish butterfly that we were looking at. And you're at the 1272 from X to D, which is a textbook PCZ for the bullish butterfly. So you kind of had a bullish pin bar at the PCZ of a bullish butterfly while being oversold on the 4-hour RSI, and somehow holding above 1168, which is really the only meaningful support. So if you combine all those factors, not bad. And then fundamentally, this Thursday, which is my birthday actually, Henrik Fisker's wife, which is also the co-founder and CFO of Fisker, is going to be attending an event. She's going to have a speech. I believe on the 17th, Fisker is going to be, in June, right in the beginning of June, Fisker's going to be reporting earnings. I think Clover might have been the 17th. What was it? Yeah, Clover is on the 17th. I got those mixed up. But so you have the CFO of Fisker talking on Thursday. Then in June, you have earnings. In their last earnings call at the end of February, there was a lot of catalysts that came around their earnings. There was also a lot of price targets that came out, like the $90 price target from Adam Jonas that apparently everybody forgot about. People only, for whatever reason, want to think about the Goldman Sachs idiotic price target, but we're going to forget about that. And then also next month, you have the annual meeting of shareholders, which I also forgot the date for. But you have all that. And then on Fisker, you also have a lot of people are obviously the Fisker and Foxconn talks have already been revealed, like officially, but people are waiting on a definitive agreement between the two, which a lot of people are expecting this month. Also, I believe like literally months ago, Henrik Fisker was talking about dropping some battery supplier info around summer of this year, so that could happen. Who knows when that could ever happen. That would obviously make the price go insane. And then also on Fisker, you have a 20% short float, which is like just at the minimum area you need for a potential short squeeze. I'd say anything above 20% short is the minimum criteria for a short squeeze. But that covers all of Fisker. You're still in a bear trend, but you do have potential variables that are known to be reversal signals, but you have not gotten a reversal yet. Okay, hopefully that, I don't know, that's probably like a 10-minute talk. Hopefully that gives you some sort of info, but always do your own research. We're just saying no battery supplier until LA Auto Show in November. I think you might be correct. I might be wrong there. I just know a lot of people have been expecting that to come out within the summer. So you definitely might be right. I didn't even really look into it that much. Yep, the Foxconn issues at Wisconsin. Been a lot of legal things going on with that. And then also, I believe in November they're going to be revealing the interior. And Henrik Fisker keeps talking about some sort of feature with your phone and the Fisker Ocean, which I have no clue what that's about, but we'll find out eventually. And obviously Project Pair, we have no clue what that exactly is going to be. But with all that Fisker talk being done, keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you want to send me a tip or get some merchandise, that is the pinned chat. And then also, as of today, we now have super chats, which I do believe if you super chat, it will pop up on the stream. Like it'll say your name in whatever message you wrote. I checked that out before the stream started. Let's talk about Clover now. Put out a new trade on Clover. This is probably like the 10th trade I put out on Clover. I'd say about 6 or 7 of the trades I put out on Clover have played out. About 3 of them right over here did not play out because it was just dumping on a short report. But obviously I put out those trades well after the short report. It's just you kept on dumping for forever. I'm sure many people here are still scarred from this move on Clover. Even though it feels like it was like a year ago at this point, it was literally a month and a half ago. It was literally 2 months ago, essentially in March. So obviously, since the bottom, which was an alert that I put out, like literally 635 was the second entry of that bullish crab, which was the all-time low. Since then, I've already put out like 3 or 4 trades, which I think 3 of them have played out. Maybe 1 did not play out. But at this point on Clover, I was looking at the 1 hour today. Sorry for that loud sound. I don't know what music this is. Let me just skip this song. I was looking at the 1 hour today on Clover and a potential short-term trade. Let me explain the thesis behind this. You have a bullish bat on the 1 hour, pretty textbook. Pretty much got a 50% retrace from X to B, Dow theory. And this was kind of within the range. You probably wanted 382 there, but it's fine. It's close enough. And then obviously you already did bounce at the 886, which is the PCZ for the bat. Then you can also tie that with some hidden bullish divergence on the RSI. And if we go over to the daily, this is what kind of sealed the case for me. I liked how it was finally trying to find some support over this that previous resistance area. Like if I really chart it, like that 890 area, if you remember, that's been the resistance it was trying to break out of for literally all of March and April. And then when it finally did, it went to test the 1180 resistance. And now for the first time ever, you're trying to use the 890 area as support. So that's the idea behind the Clover trade. It's a very short-term trade. You're playing the low time frames. You're on the 1 hour chart. So it's a very short-term trade. And earnings, I believe, are on the 17th of this month. If this trade does play out, I would expect it to play out before then. But who knows if it plays out or not. We'll have to see. And yeah, that talks about Clover. Let's move on and let's talk about the failures. Two big failures this week that I was pretty optimistic about, but I was clearly wrong about, and that's just a part of the game. Was, well, the first one I was definitely wrong about, and that's EBON. It sucks, okay, but this is what you signed up for during the trade, right? You enter that trade knowing that historically this is potentially like the lowest risk area to be entering. It was obviously I put the entry right over here. There are so many other people that were putting out alerts on EBON up here when all of Twitter was talking about EBON. So technically putting out an alert down here historically was pretty much the lowest level, because that was like your all-time low. So it was where you bottomed out in June of last year, in December of last year. But if the trade didn't work out, you were talking about risking about 4%, because the stop loss was obviously under the previous all-time lows just a little bit, and it got stopped out. It was a failed trade, plain and simple, no excuses. Didn't hold support, market dumped, and yeah, rip. It didn't work out. I mean, there's really not much else I can say besides that. At this point, you do not have any support. You have entered the deep waters. We will see a lot of times when you create a new all-time low, you're just in a situation where you don't have any supports, but obviously you're at the lowest level area. So fundamentally, if you believe in this fundamentally, this is like the best discount that you've ever received on EBON. But technically speaking, you don't have any support left. So it would technically be bearish under 381. If you get back above 381, then you're talking, but you're not there yet. So horrible dump, but thankfully, you know, I wasn't pumping it with Twitter up here. I was waiting until there, and it just didn't work out. That's just what it is. All right, and then SOS, this one's 50-50. I mean, it got stop hunted today with the market falling, but it did close both 4-hour candles above the stop area, which is something I talk about all the time. Waiting for those 4-hour closes, as long as it's within your risk tolerance, and for most people, I would say about 8% is within. I think a lot of people start getting really risk off on their trades when it exceeds a 10% loss just based on position sizing, but obviously it's always up to you and how you manage your risk. But if you ignore the stop punt, it's down about 4%, leaving it on the sheet for now. But like I said last night on the stream, you need to get back over 420, otherwise it's not looking good. That was the support. I tried to post the trade right at the support. Terrible timing. I messed up, plain and simple. You win some, you lose some, and the whole entire idea of having a minimum 3 reward to risk is that on your losing trades, you just lose this amount, this little amount, but on your winning trades, you can make much bigger amounts. And that's what trading really comes down to. So that sucked. SPG, not really much I want to talk about here. You're still, somehow, you closed right above your previous candle closes, so SPG trade is still fine for now. DNLI, I don't like how you fell under your previous resistance. It was just a combination of the market being horrible and breaking a support, and yeah, hopefully you took some profits up here. This has really just been the story for a lot of things. When the market, when the Nasdaq pulls back 5% in 3 days, these are the things that are going to happen. And unfortunately, I wish it was in my control, but the Nasdaq pulling back 5% in 3 days was not in my control. So thankfully this trade's still in profit, but obviously I'm not happy about it, and I'm sure you're not happy about it. Just rough times for the market. I mean, straight up, you know, PGRE was actually green today. Not much has changed here. You're still above 1053. It's fine. VIR, it hit that first target. I don't know if that second target is going to be hitting at this point, because you've already come pretty much back down to the entry, but it's already hit that first target like a week ago. So that really recaps everything I wanted to talk about. Hopefully that gave you some input based on my opinions, but obviously nothing I ever say is financial advice. So there were some posts all over Twitter. I think Bloomberg reported Equinox was in talks with Social Capital's, you know, IPOD or IPOF SPACs to go public. But obviously Bloomberg said like there's no what sort I use? It's only a rumor for now. There's no like confirmation that that deal is going through. They're just reportedly talking. It's really what the article said. Now Chad Freeze is in the chat saying Bloomberg corrected the article to IPOF. Interesting, the valuation for the company had you leading towards IPOD. Initially, IPOD after hours did have a bigger move than IPOF. I was looking at them. So we're going to see what happens. I mean, for the people who know about Equinox, they're making money. All right. I think they're making money because they charged a decent amount, no, a crazy amount compared to other gyms. That's what, you know, that's what the whole entire premium feel of an Equinox gym is, I guess. But we'll see what happens with that. Really interesting stuff. And yeah, that's really the recap of today. Hopefully things get better. I already talked about the market, so I'm not going to talk about it again. But at what point do things like this and just EVs, pot stocks, like you name it, like there's just so many stocks that have literally crashed. Like there are quite literally stocks in the past month and a half that have done worse than they did in the COVID crash. And mainstream media is ignoring these stocks. They're not talking about it, which is very weird. But I mean, of course, they're not the larger names. Mainstream media always typically tends to talk about the large caps, so that's fine. But it's like we've had like a silent crash in the small caps, and not even the Russell is showing it. Like if you look at the Russell index, I already had on my watch list. The Russell has just been going sideways, you know, lately. But yeah, I mean, it's like none of the indices are showing it. Mainstream's not talking about it. But if you look at most EVs and pot stocks and SPACs, there has been a silent market crash for those sectors, where they've lost over 50% of their value in like a month and a half to 2 months. It's crazy. And if you remember back in January, it was quite the opposite, where January, like all of these EV stocks and pot stocks and SPACs were just flying through the roof while tech was lagging behind. So yeah, like Chad Free said, just some rotation. We'll see how it continues to develop. Rooster just got the notification from YouTube. I don't know what's up with them, but how you doing? And yeah, that really recaps everything I wanted to talk about for the stream. Like I always say, I don't care what the market looks like. I don't care how the trades are doing. I stream to educate. So I'm always showing up no matter what happened during the day. The stream is its own thing. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And now, after all of that coverage, we are ready to talk or go over tickers in chat. So if you want me to take a look at something for you, if you want to ask me any trading questions, the next half an hour is yours for me to help out however I can. So drop your tickers in the chat or questions you have about trading, whatever it is. And I'll do my best to help you out. Not financial advice. Don't request something that IPO'd yesterday. Don't request something that was up 5,000% today. Let's get to it and see what you want to look at, because a lot of things are on sale right now with the NASDAQ pulling back not even pulling back, with the NASDAQ dumping 5% in 3 days. So yeah. OPTI, Litecoin. I assume you mean Litecoin. I don't know if you mean actual LTC, the stock, because I know there's LTC properties. But I'm just going to go with Litecoin. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you in any cryptos or any watch list? I don't know if you were here in the beginning of the stream, matey, but I started like the first 10-15 minutes of the stream talking about crypto and how they've just pumped in like the last hour and a half. So yeah, I talked about Bitcoin and the alert BNT. And then I also talked about 2 other cryptos that I was looking at. And they've gone up more, even more, since I talked about them in the beginning of the stream, which was Tezos XTZ. It's above an ice line with hidden bullish divergence on the daily. And then I also talked about Zcash, hidden bullish divergence on the daily and the 4-hour with an inverse head and shoulders. And they're both up like another 1 or 2% since I started, or since I talked about them on the stream. But crypto's going insane. My whole entire watch list is just, can I show it? Let me see. No, that doesn't show it. Great. I can't show it, but my whole entire crypto watch list is just super green right now. But yeah, let's get to these tickers in the chat. I know I gotta type some more in. Earn, NVAX, A lot of news going on with them lately. RESN, UWMC, yep. Tattooed Chef, Yale. Yeah, you're all good. But yeah, crypto's going nuts. What's Dogecoin up to real quick? I just want to see what it's doing right now. It's like literally continuing up. So it's like, it's almost at all-time highs yet again. It's Dogecoin is about 3.5% away from an all-time high. But let's start off with OPTI, and let's see what's up with this. Is this really OPTI? I clicked on the wrong stock, I think. Why are there so many? This is so confusing. I don't know which OPTI you want me to look at. So, Angel1, can you just let me know what the name of the company is? I know the ticker is OPTI, but there's a bunch of different OPTIs. So just let me know what the name of the company is. We're going to move on until then. Litecoin. Let's go on the weekly on Litecoin. I mean, ever since it crossed over 145, it's like you've really had no resistance. Like 145 was that major resistance from the 2019 bull market high. After you cross that, it's like look left. There's really not much. You broke above 323, which is where your candles kind of closed right over here in 2017. Now you're just talking 380 after that, 420. So, I mean, it's insane. I don't know how you would kind of go about things. I'm on the weekly time frame, so I'm just going to go off of candle closes and not candle wicks, but I'm just going to chart that there. Let's go over to the daily. Not much confluence. It's really hard. It's kind of gone straight up in the last couple of months. So, I mean, you could probably look at it as a parabola, something like this. Just really, the level of demand is insane here. Probably depends on Bitcoin. It's up 10% in the last 2 hours. Oh my gosh. But yeah, craziness. I mean, if you want to use Fibonacci levels, your 1272 is at 372, which is also confluent with your candle high from like December of 2017, from that original bull market run to 20K. So that's Litecoin. I can't really give you anything besides that. It's just like that's what it's doing. Kern is continuing to try and back test its previous resistance as a support. The only issue here is now instead of classic bullish divergence, you have hidden bearish divergence developing, where you made a higher high on your MACD from this island to this island, but a lower high on price. So MACD not looking good. Earnings are coming up on the 11th. That matters more than the technicals. So that's really all I could give you on this one. I mean, your support is like, really this whole entire area is kind of a support area that is kind of sitting at right now. So you said it was Optech International. Was it the first one I did? No, it was not. Good. So good I asked. Oh, it was the OTC that I looked at. Okay. Somehow you closed pretty much like right at the 200-day moving average. Great. I have to reset my chat because somebody's being stupid. How do I even do this? Refresh catch. Alright, there we go. It's that easy. Thank you, Rooster, for deleting the messages. But Optech, how we say it, you're kind of chopping around right at the 200-day moving average. I don't see much of a pattern or really anything else. I'd say your support's like 77.8 cents. But again, it's an OTC. It's not super easy to kind of chart OTC stocks just because they're traded very, very differently than regular stocks. So you're just kind of in between a support and resistance. You do, however, have some classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour chart. So we'll see if that kind of helps things out. All right. Novavax, sitting right at a support area 172. It was your candle low on January 29th. It was kind of your supports from over here in April, and you're trying to hold it again. You just want to stay above 172. As long as you do that, you're good. But I don't see much of a pattern or any divergence. RESN, I don't like how you came under the 200-day moving average. You do not have any divergence on the daily. Take a look at the 4-hour, no divergence either. So Definitely maybe like a falling wedge. I'd probably call this a falling wedge, probably something like that. All right, so you're in a falling wedge, price contraction to the downside. You're kind of at the demand line right now, and you are back testing previous resistances, trying to flip them into support. So potential reversal area, but earnings are coming up soon. That matters more than anything else. UWMC looks pretty interesting to me. This is kind of how I would manage my risk on UWMC, but if we're kind of just looking at it like straight up, above 721, you're in lower risk areas than you have been at. So hold above 721 and you're fine on this. I believe earnings are on the 10th, so that's in about 6 days. That obviously can send it either way. So if you remember, right over here, you had a crazy move up. But really 721 is your level. That's your low from February 26th and April 20th. Hold above that, and this could be promising. It's easy to manage your risk, even if it doesn't work out. And if we look at Tattooed Chef, well, let me just keep that so I can keep it on my watch list. Nope. What are you doing? So many scrolls. Wow. Just hitting the undo button. We look at Tattooed Chef. We used to trade this quite a bit. Oh my gosh, it did reverse at the pattern completion zone. There you go. Good stuff. Bullish bat. Hit the PCZ. Bounced at it. Didn't have much divergence or a confirmation low. So you're fine as long as you're above 1650. That was your resistance here. Your support here. Hold above 1650 and you're fine on Tattooed Chef. I mean, that's really, there's no pattern or divergence to talk about other than that. So Yell, you have some hidden bullish divergence on the daily MACD, and well, I need to actually check this out. Let's see. Yeah, you have it on your RSI as well. So hidden bullish divergence on the daily MACD and RSI. Looks good. You're in a very nice trend, higher highs and higher lows. You're above 878, which was your resistances from over here. Definitely above your resistance zone. So that's now your support zone. We're going to go out to the weekly, and I'd say your next resistance is like 1165, which was your low over here and your high over here, in my opinion. Kind of your lows over here as well. So stay above 878 for long enough. And 1165 is your next resistance. You have hidden bullish divergence, but just like a lot of other mid caps and small caps, it has earnings this week. So yeah, I don't even know when I charted this, but that, oh my gosh, I never put out this trade, but that would have been a 62% trade. I probably did it when I was scanning or something. You see this? The things that never see the light of day are the ones that just whatever. So that clears out my watch list. Let me scroll up again to see what else I missed. So I started with OPTI. All right, AMC is where I left off. Fubo, Pinterest, COM, right there. Where else did I miss? Tesla. IDEX, Rocket, Jumia, alright, that should be whatever I missed. I think somebody also requested XL, iSun, got you. So AMC, 878, you need to hold above that. You broke under 1073. And then you just continued falling because that was your support. Now 878 is your next support. That was your two lows back from July of 2019 and October of 2019. So you need to hold above 878. There's no pattern and no divergence. So not much to talk about there, just price action to the downside. Was he not banned? All right, so this is pretty simple for whoever that is. Just gotta refresh my chat like that. All right, and then we just come over to here and hide user on this channel, and now you can't chat again. Congratulations. But Boeing, I think we talked about Boeing last night on stream. 230 was the level to hold. You fell under it for a little bit today, but you closed above 230. Let me skip that song. You did close above 231. So that's good. That was kind of, if we go on the daily, it was pretty much where your candle opened on June 8th of last year. So you're just trying to hold above that. I don't know if I'd call it a bull flag, but just down sloping channel. Other than that, you don't have much divergence or anything. You did kind of have a bullish pin bar candle on the daily, which is pretty interesting. You just want to hold above 230, which you currently are above. Fubo was a trade that we ended up walking away with a 6% profit on. I closed out the trade at about 20 bucks last Friday, and as you can see, it dropped another 8% after that. Well, actually, if you go to the lows of the day, it dropped another 10% after I closed out that trade. So good stuff on that. You pretty much came back down to 1812, which is what I thought was, honestly thought that was going to happen when you fell under 2048. So now, if you can really hold above 1812, you're going to have a confirmation low at the PCZ of this bullish crab. It's not a perfect bullish crab because you did not have a 618 from X to B, you had a 0.7, but you were at the 2618 from B to D, and that's where you got your reaction low. And now what you're hoping for is your reversal low, which that's where trends can change, but it's way too early to even talk about that yet. Even 1812, if we go back in time, that is a horizontal resistance from the past. So you just want to hold above 1812. You can see it's where this candle opened at. And yeah, Fubo, pretty interesting. Watch 18. You want it to hold. All right. I just had an alert go off. Futures. All right, we can relax a little bit. We can sleep a little bit better tonight. Futures going up a little bit as we speak. Both NASDAQ and S&P futures are up about 1/3% overnight. So let me just set a new alert. All right, good. All right. Hopefully it stays like that overnight. We look at Pinterest. This one's weird. I mean, let me go to the daily. I don't know. This one's tough. I don't even know how you would I don't even want to try and create a pattern. I don't really see much of a pattern. It's really you could look at this in so many different ways. You could try and create it as a broadening wedge, which just looks weird. You could try and make it a double top. Like this. First top, second top, neckline. There's so many ways you can look at it. The way I'm just going to look at it to keep it simple is your 200-day moving average is pretty much where you tested today and you bounced off of it. Good. As long as you hold above that, you're fine. You did put in a bullish pin bar candle today, like a lot of other stocks, because there was a very bad morning and then you rallied up towards close. That was good. If there were to be a horizontal support here, I'd probably say 62, 62.20 or something. Really, this candle low, that little wick, and then this candle low, so in this little area right there. And that's actually technically where you closed at. So you closed right at the candle low from March 8th, which is when the S&P was at the bottom of the wedge. I'll just show you in this area. Actually, it already started reversing by then. But that is Pinterest. I mean, I don't really see much of a pattern of divergence. ZOM, we talked about it, I think, last night on stream. I talked about that 88-cent level. You want to hold above it. You tested it today. You closed above it. Now, the job on ZOM is continue to close above 88 cents, and you're fine. And by fine, I just mean that's your support, and you need to hold it. I don't see much of a pattern. Your divergence already did play out. Maybe you do fall a little bit under 88 cents to maybe double bottom and test the 200-day moving average. So I just say you definitely need to, you need to reverse right over here. Kind of either at the support, at the previous low, or at the 200-day moving average. So you have 3 different forms of support here between 70 and 80 cents that you do not want to breach below. Because if you fall under this 200-day moving average, there's a gap fill at 50 cents. So you need to hold above that. I don't know about a bat on Pinterest right now. I think you might be talking about one in the past, but let's see. Let's look again. I don't know about a bat here, so I don't know how you're looking at it. It's just really hard to chart it without a picture to compare to. Tesla, like I said, I think it's bearish under 710. As long as it's under 710, I'm just going to look the other way. I have, you know, of course, it'll probably come back up and test it at some point, but I don't really want to mess with Tesla under 710. That's your resistance and you're under it. So you don't have divergence or pattern. That's really it. I mean, maybe you want to try and create a falling wedge or something, or just like a downsloping channel. Probably a downsloping channel. We'll try and look at that. I look at like this, which is still kind of weird. Something like that. You get the point. Just you down lower lows and lower highs. You do have some 1 hour classic bullish divergence. Probably just depends on the rest of the EV and tech sector, even though it's pretty much a leader in both of those sectors. But we'll see what happens. Not much to comment about it right here. IDEX, you're grasping onto support. You want to hold above 247. As long as you do that, you're fine. Earnings are coming up on the 17th. Keep that in mind. Classic bullish divergence already did play out right over here, and you fell back again with the rest of a lot of other small caps. So you're continuing to just go range bound, and you're at the bottom of the range. So hold that and you're fine. Rocket earnings tomorrow. That obviously matters more than anything I say technically. Technically though, I don't like how it's under 2288. That was your major resistance in 2020. And you're back under it, and you've been using it as resistance. So it's bearish under 23, it's bullish above 23. It's that simple for me. On their last earnings though, I mean, Wall Street Bets was pumping it, but it went up 120%. And like the first 20% of that was a trade alert that I put out that hit the target, which was pretty cool. But obviously it wasn't 122% because I had no clues that Wall Street Bets was going to pump it. Jumia, it's really hard to kind of give a verdict to Jumia. I could see it both as bullish and bearish. I mean, I'll just go over both scenarios. Bearish scenario is that you're breaking under the neckline of a Head and Shoulders, and that's actually, it looks so ugly like this because you broke under the neckline and then you retested your previous support as a resistance. So you had like a break, hook, and go to the downside, and you fell into the 200-day moving average. So if we look at it like this, like that's a pretty solid bearish case where you also just made 4 lower highs consecutively with lower lows. So it's in a bear trend right now. It's going to take a lot to reverse it out of its bear trend. I mean, you need to be bullish here. And here's like kind of the flip side where, again, all right, so I just showed you the bearish scenario on Jumia. If you want to try and be a bull, you could look at it kind of like a falling wedge, where you're now back testing the breakout of the falling wedge. But I just don't know. You also fell into the 200-day moving average. You had classic bullish divergence. It played out, but then your MACD went back to red. So it's really 50-50. I mean, that is a very real Head and Shoulders momentum shifting structure. Maybe you want to just ignore the technicals for a little bit and just see what happens with the earnings, which are pretty soon. They're on the 11th. Maybe that'll just make the decision for the technicals. All right. AI. It's like it's either here or you're screwed. I mean, you're pretty much right at this support area. If you break under it, you don't have any more support. So you either reverse right here, and by right here I mean right here, or who knows where it's going to go to next, because there's nothing to compare it to because it's never been that low. So no divergence, no pattern, and I don't know anything about the company, so can't really help you out there. H bar, no divergence on the daily. At some point you can get hidden bullish divergence on the 4 hour, but you need your MACD to develop quite a bit more. It's pretty interesting though. I mean, how would you even look at this? Like, probably line up your supply line right here and kind of like this, like a descending broadening wedge or down sloping channel is how I would look at it. You're kind of in the middle. If you never come back down to the domain line, that'll be a partial decline, which will give you a 70% chance of a breakout to the upside eventually, but it depends on Bitcoin. It depends on also creating other bullish variables like divergence. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. You do have a horizontal support at 27 cents, kind of, which was your resistance here, support here, support here, support here, and support today. So you want to be above 27 cents for sure. XL, 725. If you're not above 725, it's bearish. You found support at 725, you had to move up, then you broke under it, and then you retested 725 as your resistance. So you had a support resistance flip. And as long as you're under the resistance, it's bearish. You actually, unfortunately, now you also have hidden bearish divergence on the 4 hour, which implies a continuation to the upside. I mean, to the downside. It's obviously in a downtrend where you made a lower high from this high to this high with a higher high on your MACD. And just if you want to see an example of what hidden bearish divergence looks like on this same exact chart, we'll take a look right over here. You had hidden bearish divergence up here. So look at this. Right up here, you had hidden bearish divergence where you made a lower high from this high to this high and a higher high from this one to this one. And what happened? Since that hidden bearish divergence, you dropped another 56%. And now you got the same exact thing yet again. So hidden bearish divergence here, you could see how that played out. And now you're showing that same exact thing again. So I don't know how that plays out. I hope this goes up. I mean, it had a short report, and it's one of the probably a top 5 worst performing SPAC ever. I mean, this thing is on like a Nikola level of just getting crapped on. So I like the company better than Nikola, but nothing about the chart currently is screaming that people want to buy it. And until then, I'm just not too sure. I mean, maybe it double bottoms or something. I mean, maybe if you can stay above 583, you could test it again and then double bottom, but that's just speculation. You need it to happen first, right? So really tough on that one. And then let me see, iSun. You're trying to double bottom off the 200-day moving average with classic bullish divergence. Okay, we're talking. Let me just chart that really quickly. Even have, yeah, you do. You have classic bullish divergence on your RSI as well on the daily. So good. Those are things you like to see. Look at this. And you're back testing your previous resistance as a support for now. I don't know about a harmonic here. I don't think you can get a harmonic out of this. We can test it out, but I highly doubt it. I mean, okay. All right. Wow. Let's see. You want this to be at least a 382. So the C point is a little bit shallow. That's not within the boundaries, I believe. I believe it needs to be between like a 382. Let me just verify this on the bullish bat. Bullish bat 382 to the 886. So you want this C point to be like right there. C point's a little bit not within the range, but other than that, your B point was good, and you're now potentially not double bottoming, but triple bottoming at the PCZ of a somewhat bullish bat with classic bullish divergence on the daily, and a support resistance flip and the 200-day moving average. Who requested this? These are the things that I want you to be requesting. Mark Shantz. Wow. I don't know if you saw all these things when you requested it, but this is one of the strongest charts that I've seen in like weeks. Now it has earnings in about 15 days. You could probably pull out a trade by then. Even had a bullish pin bar candle today. Wow. I don't care whether this plays out or not. You look for all of these variables time and time again, and you're gonna make money, serious money. So even if this one doesn't play out, I don't want you to think, oh, bullish bats with a triple bottom at the PCZ and classic bullish divergence and a bullish pin bar at the 200-day moving average with a support resistance flip are not good. They are so, this is the strongest chart that you could pretty much ever have. You have everything, every single thing. So from an educational standpoint, this is, get this chart on your watch list and learn from it. It might not even play out. Maybe the company is horrible. I know nothing about this company. I'm not saying it's a bad company. I'm just saying just because the chart looks amazing doesn't mean for sure the stock is going to go up. It's all just probability. But all I'm saying is use this probability time and time again, and more than often the coin is going to flip on your side. So good job, Mark. Wow, let's just line up this trade right now. This is a great way to end the stream. I mean, I'm going to come back to this in a second. I was looking, I see some people talking about Solo. Let me scroll up a little bit. This will be the final ticker of the night. Let's see. There's a huge Gartley on the daily for Solo. I don't think so. There might be. Believe it or not, I was literally looking at Solo today, so I wanted to see how much it got crushed. So we'll look at Solo for a second, then we're going to come back to iSun and we're going to line up a trade. Solo, yeah, I was looking at this literally today. I mean, did I or did I not say at $9 that I thought that this company was going to fail? I think I did, and it's down a lot. But at the same time, like, Fisker is down pretty much just as much. CCIV is down just as much. XL is down probably more. It's like the whole entire industry is doing this. So I can't be that unbiased, or that, no, I can't be that biased. But regardless, even if this thing literally shoots up tomorrow up to $20, I don't care. I don't like the company. I don't like the car. If you want to hate me because of my opinions, that's your choice. I've literally put out a bullish signal on this chart before, right over here. I said it looked bullish and it had like a 10% day, like literally the next day. So when I'm looking at a chart, I'm unbiased. But in terms of the company, just go on Google and search up Solo car and tell me what you think. That's all I'm going to say. But let's take a look. September 25th is the X point. All right, XA. No, I would not say. I mean, first things first, like your B point is past the 618. Again, that's still fine. You're not too past it. That's fine. Your C point is within the range. Eventually, can this be Gartley? Yes. I mean, honestly, I think I'm eating my words like as I speak. This is actually at the 1618. So, and it's double bottoming. So, matey, sorry. I just made myself look like a clown. You're right, sorry. But I was literally doing this today. I must have anchored it somewhere differently because I was literally putting an XABCD on this chart today and I missed this. So that's why I was like, no. But yeah, sure. That was a very weird combination of sentences, but potentially double bottoming at the PCZ of a bullish Gartley on Solo. It's very real. Do you have divergence? Not on the daily. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. You can, if you do reverse here, you're going to get classic bullish divergence on the 4 hour. Of course, it's way too early to call that because you need the MACD to start waning. But wow, believe it or not. Yeah, Rooster, that was literally me. I'm like, nope, wait, yeah, yes, maybe, yeah. Good job, matey. Good eye on this one. I even missed this when I was looking at it earlier today. I'll keep it on my watch list. And if this divergence starts developing, then I might put out a trade on it. But I need to see that divergence first because I don't play harmonics without divergence most of the time. So I never would have thought that there's a potential for me ever putting out a solo trade. But if the MACD does this, I will put out a solo trade. And it might be legendary. So, no, Cheddar Freeze. I know it sounds crazy, but believe it or not, Solo is actually not on my watch list. I don't look at it every single day. So yeah, show the classic bullish divergence and I'll put out a trade. I'm saying it right here, right now. I'm leaving it on my watch list. I'll take a look at it in the coming days. But let's get back to the prime time just champion, which is iSun. I mean, probably the best chart I've seen in weeks. Let's line up a trade on this one. Just keep in mind here that Earnings are in about 15 days, but like I said earlier, you have a bullish bat with a triple bottom at the PCZ, classic bullish divergence, 200-day moving average, support resistance flip, and a bullish pin bar candle. That's insane. This is quite literally an insanely good looking chart. Even if it fails and dumps another 30%, it's just like, I don't care. That's why you manage your risk. But how would I trade this? An absolute beauty of a chart. Very, very simple and pretty low risk, even if it doesn't work out, which is amazing. Literally, I would just buy this really anywhere in this area because you're putting in your confirmation low as we speak. And the stop loss is the easiest thing ever. You can clearly see where you're trying to double bottom at 931. That was where you bounced here, and then also conveniently your 200-day moving average is there as well. So the stop loss, literally, you just want to put it a couple percent below your support and your 200-day moving average. So let's do that. Make sure that we're not messing with any other previous lows so that it doesn't just bounce a little bit under. I'd probably go with 917, yeah. So I would probably go with 917 for the entry. Because literally what you're doing is you're saying that not once but twice the buyers have bought it at this level, so it's time to go. If it does not do this here, then whatever, I'll lose 10% and I'll go find something else. Like, even if you wanted to, you could just put in a very, very small position size into this ticker. Just put in a very small entry and then only increase your entry if it starts bouncing. That's what you could do tomorrow, just because you never know if it just dumps. Maybe the market falls again. So you could just start out very slowly. Even if it goes up a little bit more, you're going to have more than enough time to cost average. That's how I would play the stop loss, 917. Entry, it depends on how it opens tomorrow. It depends on how the market opens. The closer you can get an entry to the 200-day moving average, the better. But your MACD is telling you that it's time to go. Your bullish pin bar candle is telling you that it's time to go. Your double bottom is telling you that it's time to go. Everything is saying within the next 2 days, it's time to go on iSun. Every single thing. And if it doesn't, that's the game you play. You pay a fee and you move on. That's risk management. So I'm just going to leave my entry at 10.15. I might adjust it tomorrow depending on how it opens. And how would I target this? Probably pretty simple as well. Let's look for resistance points. There's clearly one right over here at 1437 from these two candle highs. So that would be my first target. And you can also clearly see that 1437 was your previous support right over here. So very strong resistance area. I put my target a little bit under that. I don't know if I just moved it. So I put my target a little bit under 1437. And you get a 4 reward to risk. Remember, you want a minimum of a 3 reward to risk on every trade. So that checks out. We'll just mark this really, really quickly. All right. That's target 1. Now, target 2, the insane target. We're just gonna copy and paste this really quickly. Gotta make sure it lines up. All right, target 2, I'd probably go with 1679. Now you could target the B point of the pattern, but I'm not going to be that aggressive on this one. I'm going to go ahead and target 1679, which if we zoom in, you can see is where you were finding resistance on your candle bodies over here. On this candle and on this candle, you closed your day right around that area. On this one, you opened your day there. It was your candle high over here. So that's going to be the second target for iSun. And that'll give you a monstrous 6 reward to risk. So look at it like this, all right? You are risking about 10% of whatever amount of money you want to put into iSun, okay? To potentially gain 40 to 60%. Let's just call it 50%, which is in the middle. You're risking 10% to make 50%. That's a decision only you can make. Are you comfortable with risking 10% of a certain amount of capital to potentially get a 50% return on it? That is the game you play when you're trading. And quite frankly, it's probably the best chart that you could ever get to trade. So that's iSun. I'm pretty much 99.9% gonna alert this tomorrow. With the thanks of Mark Shantz. Shout out to you for requesting this. And for everybody who always requests tickers and you really want me to spend 20 minutes on your ticker, find me something like this and I'll spend 20 minutes on your ticker. Is it a low float? Yes, that would be the thing here. It is a small float. Just looking at the volume, a lot of the time you have under 500k volume. Typically you want over 500k volume on your tickers, because that just means that there's enough people trading the stock to have high probability technicals play out, because when you're using technicals, you're visualizing the psychology of everybody trading a stock. But it's a really good looking chart, and you already know what your risk is looking like on this. And these are obviously much better value areas than up here. So if literally 2 months ago people were willing to pay 24 bucks a share for this stock, I think you're getting it at a nice sale for paying $10 a share on this stock. And that's how you do it. So shout out to Mark. For all the people watching the stream, you heard it here first. iSun is one of the best looking charts I've probably ever seen. And it might not work out. Just because I say that doesn't mean for sure it's going to go up. The market is being very weird right now. This stock currently is in a bear trend. So there are certain other variables, but you risk 10% to try and make a lot more than 10%, and that is iSun. I have no clue what this company is, so I'm just going to look at it really quickly before I close out the stream. But before I just look at the website and stuff, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you ever want to send me a tip or get some merchandise, that is the pinned chat. Even you could super chat now apparently, because you all got me to get that feature from YouTube, which is super cool. Thank you. And yeah, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the stream. iSun. Let's see what this company is. I'm not too sure. So I'm just gonna look up their website. iSun Energy. It's in a hot sector. It's in the clean energy sector. So let me pull up the website on the screen really quickly, and yeah, let's see what's up here. All right, so this is iSun, connecting renewable energy to clean mobility for a healthier world. Looks like they got, I don't know if the solar panels and EV charging investment. Those are two very, very hyped up sectors. I like the website. Solar powered shading system. Okay. Mobile app, EV charge. I need to see what this is about. Charge your or your patrons' vehicles with smart level 2 EV charging. What? So you charge your vehicles through solar? Smart inverter. Wow. AWS, nice. I'm not going to spend time going through all of these. I'm just trying to get a quick summary of what they're doing things. Ooh, that's wow. Not too sure how I feel about the pricing. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know too much about how much solar panels cost. So maybe those are normal prices for solar panels, but it's going to be hard to get mass adoption, you know, because like 100K for solar panels I don't think that's something that most people in this country can afford. So mass adoption on that price point is going to be hard, but I don't know how solar panels pricing works. I'm not obvious. I know nothing about that industry. I'm 19 years old, so maybe those are standard prices. Just me personally, I don't know. I don't know if we're at that. I don't know if we're at that time and space yet where everybody has. I don't see most houses around me having solar panels, so pricing's a little bit interesting in my opinion. But probably just compare that to other solar panel companies and, you know, see how that looks. But again, we're trading this. We're not talking about being long-term investors in this stock. We're not. We're talking about taking a trade because of technicals, and that's really it. I just want to know what the company's about. Yeah, Iceland. This song is so bad. I think I know how a solar panel works, so we could skip that. They have some interesting software where you could kind of, you know, mess with your solar panels or something, or just see how it's working, I guess. Just data. So they have systems in place. So does this mean like public systems, or what does this mean? Or these are private systems, I guess. No, this is public. Look at this. This is like in a park or something. Really interesting. Take a look at the company. Pretty small company, but very interesting. And more than that, very, very interesting chart. So yeah, TV repairman with the daily safe moon to the moon. CEO been selling shares, so that could be interesting. A lot of the times, especially on the smaller companies, you have board members and stuff selling shares quite often. I think it's just like they're smaller companies, so going public is a way for, you know, everyday people to get rich through shares and selling. But just look at that up. Of course, do your own research as always. I don't know if this used to be poll. I'd never heard this until today, but do your own research. But remember, it's just a trade. It's not an investment. You're not trying to hold this for multiple years. I mean, I'm not telling you to not hold it. I'm just saying, for how I'm looking at it, it's like a 2 week to 3 week swing trade. It's not like a, you know, 4-year investment that you're going to be locking up your funds into this company. You're risking 10%. So that's that. Thank you, Mark, I believe. Let me just make sure. Yeah, Mark Shantz. Thank you for iSun. We'll see if it works out. I think that's going to do it for tonight. I appreciate all the support. Join the Discord if you want to join my premium alerts. That's the first link in the description. Yeah, hopefully the market stops being weird, to use a nice word. And that's that. Hope everybody has a great night. Appreciate all the support. Cheddar Freeze, TV Repairman, The Guy, Scrooge, Goldminer, Matey, everybody in the chat. Thank you for showing up and supporting the stream. Mark, have a good one. I hope this works out. If it doesn't, again, it's one trade. There's thousands of trades that we're going to be taking throughout the courses of our trading careers, so I can't get too tied up in one of them. But even just for educational purposes, great looking chart. So we'll see how it goes. Have a great night. Trade safely tomorrow, and peace out.
Make love and play the guitar and eat, go down to the beach and go swimming, and occasionally write some things when I feel like writing, and think about how I'm going to get a little more money to not starve to death.